Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Gridiron Football Prep Spotlight. I'm your host, Jace LeJeune, and we're going to have our second episode. We already talked to Jamar Mitchell as well, a coach that helped us at our previous Gridiron Football Elite Camp this past Saturday at Covington High School. Now we're also going to talk to another one of our coaches this past weekend, and also will help promote as what he does, because he also does a lot of really good stuff for the kids out there, the next generation, and even a couple. He's actually helped a lot of our gridiron football All-Americans this past year, and he talks about he even works with some NFL guys. So we'll dig deep into that. But first of all, we're joined by Brodie, who does an excellent job with our kids, and does a good job of Skillz Evolution and Camp Impact as well, also with teachers. So does a lot of really good stuff for our youth. So Craig, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, Craig. So first, let's just go and always start off with kind of the backstory. When we had Jamar last week, we talked about his backstory, what got him involved with coaching and teaching the young kids and young players. And let's just backtrack back to when you yourself were a young player coming out. What really got you just from the very beginning? What got you into the sport of football?
So my father, Craig Brodie Sr., and my uncle, Brent Endes, who I'm sure everybody is familiar with my dad and Brent. They've obviously been in the sport for a very long time. My dad is thinking and about to enter year 38. Brent's not too far behind him. Football's just kind of been a part of my family. Honestly, it's been a part of our culture growing up. I remember, I was born in 87 and my dad coached under Mac Barus with Karen Crow in the
Mhm.
90s. I can go through the pedigree of athletes that came through Karen Crow, Louisiana during that time. But honestly, we just lived and died for Friday nights between myself and, Blake Barus, Coach Barus's son, and Michael Corville, Tony Corville's son. We we lived at Carrigal High School. We lived, we were ball boys, we were towel boys, water boys. We just love the sport. Michael now, is obviously still involved in football, in the game of football, at Carrigal High School. And even with, my brother, head coach at Kaplan High School, coached at Vermilion Catholic as well, Central Catholic. Um, and just football has just kind of been what we know and do. It's something that it's kind of just been ingrained into our DNA on good, bad, and different. Football has just been a way of life for the Brodie household. I played football at Westgate High School, graduated in 2006. Played with guys like Jared Mitchell, Randall
Mhm.
Antoine, David White. Deontay Spencer, I think he was in eighth grade, but he was still, part of the
Okay.
program. Tyron Walker, all these guys, came through Westgate High School. My dad was the head coach and athletic director there. From there, I walked on to LSU. I was a preferred walk on to LSU, which I was, very humbled and honored to receive. Played under Coach Les Miles, Jimbo Fisher,
Mhm.
Todd Monken. Again, kind of go through the pedigree of those
Sure.
guys. From there, I went to Arizona Western, which was in Yuma, Arizona. Probably the hottest place I've ever been to.
I
Got
bet.
off the, got off the plane and it was 117 degrees in the middle of the desert. Um, Played there for a year. Then I transferred to a Central Methodist, which is an NAIA school in Fayette, Missouri. It's people kind of I'd say the school's name and they kind of give me the kind of the little side look, and I'm like, hey, I played college football, I had a scholarship. I got to do what I loved. I got to travel. I got to meet great people. Some of the people through this game are still some of my best friends, guys
Mhm.
that we might live 1,000 miles away, but we still keep up with each other because to me, I know I said this at your camp. To me, football is one of the greatest games ever invented because it's 11 people in the field trying to accomplish one goal. And if
Mhm.
one moving cog doesn't work, the machine isn't working.
Right, right.
So, and then from there, I took an offensive coordinator position at Berwick High School, where my dad was actually a head coach there. Moved on from there, coached under Brent Indest, my uncle at Catholic in New Iberia. Came about that close from
Mm-hmm.
beating Shea Patterson twice.
Yeah.
Once in the semis, we lost to him by one, and in the state championship, we lost to him by three. Um, and then from there, I was at Holy Cross in New Orleans. I coached under Eric Robato, which is one of my good friends, coaching mentors. He's now at St. Paul's working with Jamar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I worked for 1 year under Guy LeCompte whenever he was at Holy Cross. Kind of got burnt out a little bit, just the long hours, just, coaching is a grind. Like
Mm-hmm.
any young coach that's aspiring to be a young coach, just be prepared. Don't go into this thing thinking that you're working, 9 to 5 and you're out. Like you're spending time away from your family, you're spending time away from, yourself, your hobbies. It's a grind. I mean, it's not for everybody. And I just felt like I needed to kind of take a break, kind of, look at things that, were a little bit more important. And I was like, I'm gonna get back into it. I'll get back into coaching. And then I had a friend reach out to me about training, and I never really thought about it because as a coach, you want to coach, you
Mm-hmm.
want to call plays, you want
Sure.
to be a part of the whole process. Um, and so I started training a few guys, and from there, it just kind of accumulated to one or two guys. Now it was three or four, then it was five or six, and then I got hooked up with some people in Baton Rouge. Excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
hooked up with some people in Baton Rouge, and I realized that Baton Rouge was kind of a hub. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can pull kids from Jackson, Mississippi. I can pull kids from Lafayette, from New Orleans, from the North Shore, because I mean you got I-55, I-10,
Sure.
I-12 all roll through Baton Rouge, and then from there I got hooked up with Elite Training Academy and Oshner, and I've been using their facility for a lot of our for most of our trainings. And obviously we do branch out to some of the local high schools and use their field just because we have limited space in the indoor, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
quarterbacks want to air it out.
Oh
They
yeah.
want they want to test their might every chance they get. But it's grown, and I'm honestly I'm humbled by it. It really wouldn't be what it is today because of Coach Tom George. A little bit about Coach George. He's the CEO and owner and person that started QB Impact. QB Impact started as a quarterback academy out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Coach George, he's 28 years retired Navy. He's a senior chief officer. So this guy knows structure. He
Mm-hmm.
knows discipline, and I was actually invited to work his camp Impact, and I was actually a volunteer in my first year. I paid my way, paid my own hotel, paid
Mm-hmm.
for flight, all that good stuff, because it was something that I was like, okay, let me get my foot in the door. Let me get a little professional development, I guess you can
Mm-hmm.
say.
Right.
And then from there, Coach George reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like I want you to be a part of this." And to me, like I didn't expect anything to come of the camp. I was just like, I can make connections. I
Mm-hmm.
can, train some people. I can be around people that love the game. And then, I'll go back home and kind of apply, what I've learned. And then he asked me to join QB Impact and grow the branch of QB Impact called Skillz Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So now, 4 years later, now I'm the national director of Skillz Evolution, obviously specializing in training in Louisiana. And I mean, he'll listen to this, and Coach George, I appreciate you, and
Mm-hmm.
you've done so much for me, and I can't explain what you've done to help me and also help these kids down here in Louisiana, and how it's helped us grow and it's helped our brand grow. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, it's grown from three or four kids at a park in Baton Rouge, at Highland Park in Baton Rouge,
Right.
to now it's not that I want to turn away, but there's only so many people I would like to have at one time, because I know that
Mhm.
they have some trainers that will just accept everybody because maybe that's the only thing they do, and more power to them. If they can hustle and
Sure.
get 30 kids, that's great. We like to focus on certain numbers, especially with me being one coach.
Mhm.
Um, and we like to focus, and it's getting to the point where I have to say, like, hey, maybe next session, which it hurts me to say, because I want to please everybody, and I want to make
Mhm.
sure that these guys get the work, but it also humbles me because it's gotten to the point where we can do that, and hopefully it continues that way. Our mission is always we always say our mission is never complete, because not only do we want to develop athletes, we want to develop people,
Right.
because at the end of the day, these kids and even these men that I work with in college and the NFL, they never know when their last snap's going to be,
Mhm.
and they need to be prepared to take on the world. So we have our mentorship program. We obviously teach them more than just X's and O's, than just footwork, than just how to run a route, or why to run a route. So that's one thing that I've been just eternally grateful for Coach George and just the QB Impact brand as a whole, because it really is what it says it is. It's an impact, and I truly believe that we're on the way to making more of a difference, not only in the game of football but also for these kids.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's what it's really all about. And you when you went over like your career and what got you to this point, and some of the mentors that helped you, right? I mean, the coaches that you riled their names off. I mean, that's a pretty impressive list. I mean, your dad. I mean, Coach Bruce and all the great teams he had at Karen Crow. I mean, Coach Indes, your uncle. I mean, he's had a bunch of state championship programs at Kathleen Nonberry. Then when he went to LSU as a walk on, I mean, Les Miles, Jimbo Fisher. I mean, what kind of mind he is. So some of these guys that you learned under. What are some of those, those things that you've learned that you've helped spread the knowledge to the kids now?
I mean, honestly, the biggest thing that, as far as like a training aspect, is why do we do things?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can sit here and I can teach a route tree. I can teach 0 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
I can show you every route that you run. I can show you all this concepts, but at the end of the day, why are we doing this? I can set up ladders, I can set up cones, I can set up 100 cones, I can set up a ladder, and I can run 50 drills in 90 minutes. But at the end of the day, what are they getting from it?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing these things? Why are we doing a rocker step? Why are we doing, why are we trigger stepping? Why are we doing all of these different aspects of the game? And once they can understand that, football becomes easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like at times I feel like people overcomplicate the game. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because obviously there's a whole lot of better minds than myself in this game. But I feel like sometimes people overcomplicate it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a simple game. It's run, pass, block, catch, defend, kick, punt. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's really not a complicated game. So you really have to break it down. And one thing that I've always learned from, and actually, Coach Indes, if something's important to you, you're going to make time for it and you're going to absorb it. That's one thing that he preached almost every day to these kids that he works with. Because it's true. If you really want to learn the game and you really want to get better, you're going to be a sponge. You're going to absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times in the session where myself and Coach Cole Delcom, who I'll talk about in a second, our quarterback coach down here in Louisiana, we stop the session and we explain why we're doing what we're doing. Because we can tell the quarterback 3-step drop, throw a dig,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not going to call a dig against certain coverages. And they're like, why? So we stop, we pull out the whiteboard, we draw things up, and we're like, hey, this is exactly what we're going to do. This is where the window is. The quarterback, it's not the receiver's responsibility to do certain things. It's the quarterback's responsibility to do this. or it's a receiver's responsibility to do this. So we really break it down for each player. And that's something that I think that, we take pride in doing. And I feel like that's what we're doing a little bit different. Again, I can't speak for other trainers, but that's one thing that I feel like separates us from a lot of these people because we're not about clout. We're not about, boasting and bragging on social media. We're just about work. And at the
Right.
end of the day, like, if you want to train or you want to go to a trainer that, gets you more followers or whatever it is, that's fine because we're going to keep doing what we're doing and we're not going to stray from, again, I'm just going to repeat, like I said, we're not going to stray from our mission. Our mission is to make better people, make better athletes, make, better, husbands, fathers one day. So that's what the mission of QB Impact really is about. It's bigger than football.
Yeah, it is. And when you talk about Skillz Evolution, you talk about quarterback impact, camp impact. It's a lot of work behind the scenes, is what you mentioned, right? Because it's one thing that people see the product that is on Friday nights. They see the end result, but they don't really appreciate. Not a lot of people appreciate, okay, the work that's really put in behind the scenes, and when there's not cameras in front of you all the time. And really, I guess like the results speak when it's for itself. And you talk about guys, we had our Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game this past December, and there's been some standouts that, were part of your organization and went through that, like guys like Braden George, guys that represent what they did on the field. Obviously, they were great players on the field, but just even better individuals off the field. And how rewarding is it to see a guy like Braden George that has really gone through the process and see him sign with Navy and become the not only the football player but the individual, like as an
Man, I
example.
can't. Yeah, I can't say enough about that kid. I say kid. I mean, he's bigger than me. He's a grown man now. No, I mean, someone like him. I mean, I told him from day one. I mean, I started working with him. I believe it was after his freshman season, going into his sophomore season. I told him from day one that he was special, but he's the epitome of a kid of a what I would call a Skillz Evolution athlete because he every time I told him he was great, he just kind of laughed and he was like, "I
Yep.
mean, coach, it is what it is."
hmm
And I'm like, no, like you're really good. Like you're
hmm
gonna be really special one day. You're gonna do great things, and not only on the field but off the field because obviously getting into the Naval Academy, it's not an easy feat. It you
hmm
you have to have recommendations. You have to have the grades. And I mean, he graduated, with honors. He graduated, in the top tier, percentage of
hmm
his class. He obviously unbelievable athlete between football and track and powerlifting. I mean, he did. You name it. I mean, you give him 2 weeks to figure out something, he's going to be good at it. But he's kind of what the guy that I can really speak on whenever someone says, "What does Skillz Evolution look like?"
hmm
I mean, he's humble kid, loves his family, loves his teammates, and honestly, like he literally will do anything that you need him to do on the field. I mean, I'll go back to. I mean, you were announcing this game, I'm sure. I'll go back to the Ascension Catholic game.
hmm
Whenever
Yep.
he just basically said, "Get me the ball and put me on the field."
Yeah.
And they gave him the ball on offense. He did his thing. They put him on defense. He had a pick six.
Yep.
Ball game. Braden George show.
Yep, it was. It was. And we followed it, throughout his whole career. But that's just one individual. Gridiron Football American for us was the MVP of our bowl game and had a great showing there. But who are some other individuals like for upcoming campers that are interested in getting involved with your program? Who are some other guys that go into the program that have done some pretty good things?
I mean, I feel bad if I'm gonna leave someone
Yeah,
out. To be
right,
honest with
right,
you,
obviously.
just kind of looking at I'll stick with the guys that are continuing their
Sure,
career.
sure.
Guys like Jack Como.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
Jack's an unbelievable human being. He's such a hard worker. Like whenever he shows up, it's work, 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 work. Jack's a jokester, love the
Mm-hmm.
kid, but whenever it's time to work, it's locked in. We
Mm-hmm.
got 90 minutes together. He wants to get as many reps as possible. If someone doesn't want to step up for a rep, Jack takes their rep. And not out of disrespect, but
Sure.
hey, look, I'm investing my time and I'm investing my father's money into this, so I'm gonna get the most out of it. Guys like Jack, guys like Laramie Guidry,
Yep.
another guy that'll work with actually, Navy commit.
Yep. Another
Um,
one.
Seth Gale going on to play at Tulane.
Another
I
good
actually
one.
mentioned I actually mentioned him. I wouldn't say he's one of our guys because he came in and out sparingly because he
Mm-hmm.
obviously has other commitments to different
Sure.
people and different organizations. But one guy that I'll always brag on is Granville Anderson. He,
Yep.
I mean, smart kid, very
Mhm.
bright kid. I wish I had half the brain that he had.
Yep.
And I know, and I mean, again, he's one of those guys that are just hyper focused on not only becoming a better athlete, but becoming a better student. Um, guys like Jarius Wright, another one that played in your Gridiron
Yep.
All-American game.
Yep.
I mean, we this year we've done a really good job with I keep on saying our guys. I don't want to saying our guys is kind of weird. Just guys that have gone through our system, I should
Sure.
just say,
Right.
because I don't want to sit here and claim guys because I know for a fact that these coaches spend way more time with these guys than we do. And coaches, if you're watching this, I appreciate everything you do because I've been in your shoes. I know
Mm-hmm.
that grind. That grind is tough.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like hard work sucks, but whenever you work hard and you see, you reap the rewards, then
Mm-hmm.
it pays off. And even if you don't get the success, maybe you develop these people into better teammates. Maybe
Right.
you develop into better students. Maybe you took them out of a situation that could possibly be harmful to their future. So
Yeah.
coaches, shout out to all of y'all.
Absolutely, and they do. And I say this: high school coaches are the best coaches out there because sometimes when we go to college, NFL, you're already dealing with guys that they already got it right. In high
Right.
school, you're really developing a lot of these kids you're molding these kids not only to great players but great young men, and they're going to be already at that level by the time they get there. But when we talk about and those guys in particular, a lot of these guys, Gridiron All Americans guys that we covered, but I just wanted to specify those guys because they did the extra work that got them to college. It's not just like, okay, everybody says they want to be great, right? But what does it really take to be great? And sometimes that extra hour and a half is what these guys do, and you see the end result at the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Andy said, what there's 738 total
Mm-hmm.
teams between NAIA, JUCO, and Division One, Division Two, Division Three, and also FCS. And I mean, 738 teams seems like a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you have to think there are millions of high school football players. There's easily over a million high school football players, between grades eight through 12 at different high schools and all around the United States. Getting to play college football is not something that should be taken as like, oh, I can get on a team. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, you can't, because if you don't put in the work, you're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about the work that you put in at practice. It's about the work that you put in outside of practice. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sitting here saying like go pay a trainer.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like obviously, I wouldn't mind if they come to the program and come through 174, 75 Opportunity Avenue. But what I'm saying is, watching the extra film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're, a skill guy, grabbing your quarterback, on a Sunday afternoon and saying, "Let's go. We're going over our game plan," or "Let's do some extra stuff." If you're a lineman, you call up your buddies. You go over techniques, and even if it doesn't have to be a rigorous workout, it's like, "Hey, let's go over our steps. Let's go over our timing. let's do this much more, because if
Mm-hmm.
you have 80 guys doing this much more, those measurements get bigger and bigger and bigger and
Mm-hmm.
bigger. And I
Yep.
mean, it's just honestly, football is a game of trust,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to be the best team. You have to just honestly, at the end of the day, whenever it comes to playoff time and being great, you got to be the best team that day. And the best team that day is the one that shows up, does the extra work. I mean, I can sit here all day and rattle off the great programs we have here in Louisiana, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously the biggest one that comes to mind with the most state championships is John Curtis.
Right.
Those guys do the work. People can sit here and and say whatever they want to say about Coach JT, but I mean, proof's in the pudding. Those guys put in the extra work. One of my good buddies, coaches there, and I know for a fact that they're working. They're working
Mm-hmm.
after practice. They're working before practice. They're doing the work, and they do it well, and they're successful. Just like programs like Catholic of Baton Rouge, Dunham,
Mm-hmm.
Episcopal. I mean, again, I could sit here and rattle off the reason why these teams, Newman, the reason why these teams are
Mm-hmm.
successful year in and year out. It's not because they're recruiting the kids. It's
Mm-hmm.
because they have a program. They don't have a good team. They have a good program. Good
Right.
programs are going to beat good teams. Good teams are going to be good for a couple of years. Good programs are going to be good for 10 years, 20 years. Whenever you see that name, just like going back to, my dad under Coach Barros. If I,
Mm-hmm.
literally any person that knows anything about Louisiana football, if I tell them that my dad coached, at Carencro High School in the late 80s, early 90s, their eyes get this big because they
Mm-hmm.
start rattling off, Kevin Falk, Wade
Right.
Ritchie, Derek Beavers, Ernest Lazard, Damian James. I mean,
Mm.
the
The
list goes
talent.
on. But yeah, I mean, get a little sidetracked here, but no, I mean, honestly, it just goes into doing the extra stuff,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it just like your work. It just like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like you're I'm using you as an example. Like, you're going the extra mile interviewing coaches. I'm going the extra mile by doing this. We don't have to do these things, but if
Mm-hmm.
we want to be great, if we want to separate ourselves from the rest, we have to do things that others don't or others won't.
Exactly. Take that extra mile. What will set you apart from average to decent to great. Then that's what we're really coming at here. And you actually got a chance to work with some NFL guys. I mean, another big name in the Baton Rouge area is somebody at Catholic I tried to attempt to tackle in practice. Didn't go so well. Is Claude Edwards-Elaire. So tell me about your relationship with Claude.
Oh man, I could talk about Clyde all day. He's just a quality human being, and I'm not even talking about a football aspect. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
football, he is gifted. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's special. I mean, there's not too many guys that at the end of their career can say, "I won a state championship, I won an NCAA championship, and I've won an NFL championship." I mean, there's got to be less than maybe 3% of NFL players that can probably say that. I mean, I'm just making the number up, but I'm
Right,
assuming it's not
right.
a lot. Um, but Clyde is someone that he just works. Like, he doesn't do anything extra. He doesn't put himself in situations that can possibly be harmful to his family or his career. He's a quality person, and I wish I could just bring him, literally just like bring him to every camp or training session that I
That would
go
that would be
to.
great.
Yeah, right. But just have him talk to the kids, because I mean, I'm sure like maybe people aren't familiar. Like, he's kind of told me a little bit about his background. I don't want to speak for him too
Hmm.
much, but just speaking from his background, he kind of came up. I mean, he did come up, and he made this game into something he's currently feeding his family with,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
something that like the kids in Louisiana, the kids in Kansas City, the kids specifically in Baton Rouge can say, I want to be like him.
Hmm.
And going back to the quality human being thing, and I'm sure everybody, maybe you've seen this, and I know a bunch of people have seen this. What happened at the Super Bowl parade?
Hmm.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Clyde
Yeah.
Clyde literally stood back and had, the kid's name was Zach. He held back and made sure that Zach was safe. Clyde wants to get into nursing after his football career because he legitimately wants to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, having 2 Super Bowl rings really doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's like the cherry on the top, cherry
No
on
doubt,
the
no
cake,
doubt.
you know.
And the funny thing is, like, he'll be the last person to tell you that.
Yep.
He's just a very humble dude. And honestly, like, I am blessed that him and I have crossed paths. We talk fairly often, and it's funny because I'd say 95% of the time we're not talking about football.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the type of guy that he is. He's like, this is my job. That, if we're gonna train, let's train. If we're gonna play, let's play. But it's just he doesn't let the game form his identity
Mm-hmm.
because he at the end of the day, like football, he's gonna play his last down someday.
Yeah.
And he knows what he wants to do. He has a goal. He wants to continue. He wants to help people. And again, I wish we would have met sooner because
Mm-hmm.
he is truly a guy that I can physically show these guys this is your standard.
Yeah.
Obviously, he might not be a 2,000-yard rusher in the NFL. He might not, have his bust, made in Canton, Ohio one day, but he made it, and he made it out of something. He made it kind of from, not much according to, what the little that I know about his
Yeah.
background, and he can tell these kids and show these kids like, hey, I played B-Rec football. I was just like you. I played at Memorial Stadium on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings in front of my mom, my dad, and 200 other parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and played in LSU, played in front of 100,000 people. Won a national championship. Been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 of
Mm-hmm.
them. I
Yeah.
mean, if that's not a great story about a great person, I don't know what is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Craig, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're actually going to talk about, uh, yeah, just how can kids get involved? They can get involved with your program, at Quarterback Impact, Camp Impact, Skillz Evolution, what you're doing now, and also just thoughts on working on Gridiron Football Camp. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for a Gridiron Football Prep Spotlight.
We are the great. We will be great. Man, work hard, work hard. Play smart. Don't be bad.
I've been here 3 years. I ain't never talked before a game. But ever since yesterday, my heart been pumping. My heart been pumping. My body been getting hot. I thought I was nervous.
Scared. Coach said no fear. No fear. Coach Will said no fear. No fear.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Football Prep Spotlight. I'm Jace LeJeune, your host, alongside Craig Brodie, one of the best trainers out there. I got to put my money. If I was an athlete, highly encourage send your money over to Craig and get some work done because he does a really good job really training these young athletes and really helping them elevate their game to the next level. And Craig, I know we had a conversation with guys that you worked with and guys that you've helped sent to the next level and guys that you worked with as well, coaching wise and learned under. But yeah, recently when I made that transition to talk about the Gridiron Football Camp we had this past Saturday at Covington High School. And it was really the second time we've really been in that area putting a camp on in that area. Last year we had one at North Shore High School, and it was a really good event. But Craig, I know you helped coach the receivers and helped coach with us at the camp this past Saturday. I think we had a record crowd from from our end of things. Then we had 82 kids that signed up and participated. But just what were your overall thoughts at the camp and how everything, just the event in general?
I guess I'll give a nod to Coach Tom George. A good camp is determined by organization. I thought that the camp was very organized. I explained or I expressed how good the camp was to a lot of my Baton Rouge clients. I know you guys have one coming up at East Iberville High School in April. Highly recommend this to parents and also to athletes to come out and get better. Learn a little bit, get some testing results in. Get a little exposure. There's nothing wrong with being selfish at these camps. And I think I told the group that in the beginning, you can make friends after the camp. Your parents, whether it was you or your parents or your grandmother or whoever your caretaker is, they're investing their money at these camps. They invest their money into Gridiron Football. Trust that you guys are one, putting on the best possible camp. And two, hiring a good coaching staff, and three, making sure that they have good film, because in the ages of social media and media content, you want to make sure that you get seen. I know I made a comment earlier before the break about social media, but at the end of the day, that's how college coaches are going to see you. You might have a college in Washington State that's never seen you before in person, but they've seen your highlights, they've seen your camp film. And I think that Gridiron Football really did a fantastic job in catching that. I mean, you guys had what, 8-10 interns, all with. I mean, there was an eye in the sky. There was cameras on the field. There was video being taken. I mean, there wasn't more than 5 inches of that field that weren't covered by a camera. Right. That to me, that's really impressive, because what that means is, you guys are really, investing. You guys are hiring the right people. You guys are making sure that, even these interns are getting great experience. And to me, organization is a big aspect of a camp. Because if, parents are paying good money, and some of these parents, this might be a situation where some of these parents may have, saved up for, weeks or maybe even months. Maybe they had to plan these things in advance, get a hotel room, so on and so forth. And you want to put on a good event, and you want to make sure that there's not a lot of standing around, which there wasn't, because we were constantly moving. I mean, I was exhausted. And I know that I know I was down there with the skill guys, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, and defensive skill. But I mean, even the big boys, those big boys were huffing and puffing for air at the end of the camp. I mean, Andy was down there with the tires doing two.
Andy wore them out.
And honestly, like that's the biggest thing. It's you hire quality staff. You trust that your media crew does their job with making sure that you get all the content, and then obviously you have you kind of have your man at the top, with Andy just making sure that things are run smoothly, because people notice things. People always notice things. You want to run a camp, and you guys did a good job. You want to run a camp where people are trying to find things wrong with the camp.
Right.
It's the same thing with recruiting. Recruiters aren't trying to. They know what you can do. They want to figure out what you can't do.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. I'm hoping. I mean, I haven't officially got the invite. Elbow.
Come. You're always invited to come. So we will.
I'm really excited about the next one. I think it's a great event, and also Louisiana really does, just like a lot of the states in the South. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, even parts of East Texas has a lot of untapped talent. And also, like, a lot of these guys just kind of get, and I know overlook's kind of a overused word, but at the same time, some of these guys really do get overlooked just because of maybe their location, or maybe their team's performance, or maybe there's some studs on the team that kind of overshadow some of these guys, and that's why these these gridiron camps, and camps like these gridiron camps are very important for some of those kids. I mean, the kid from Picayune, what was his name?
Brandon Parker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he drove in from Picayune, Mississippi. He was what, 10 minutes late. He didn't know which way was which. But I know this, as soon as he put on that camp shirt and he tied up his cleats, he got after it.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was winning MVP. I mean, I had no idea who this kid is. Now he follows me on social media. I think he's going to try and pull up at sessions.
So. Yep.
So I mean, that's just kind of how it happens. And just go out there and work. And again, parents, coaches, caregivers, you got Coach Brodie's approval on the gridiron camps. Everybody knows how outspoken I can be about these about these combines and these camps that are popping up all over the place.
As long as we got Coach Brodie's stamp of approval, that's like,
there we go. Come on.
That's what we were shooting for sure. And and we have more coverage coming up. I know we're posting really all angles. I know Craig mentioned to it on our YouTube channel. So quarterbacks, we got the quarterback view of it, 7-on-7 one-on-ones. Right now, we're gonna have all our footage uploaded. It's going to be all on our website. As you're seeing this, it'll probably already be uploaded. We'll have an article about the camp too. You can go gridironfootballusa.com for that. And if you want to read more about the camp and how you can be a part of it. We got, as Craig mentioned, we have a camp coming up at East Iberville. It's going to be a month from about, actually a little less than a month from today. So it's going to be a really good opportunity for a lot of kids to get exposure, get a chance to get better, prepare for these college camps that are coming up too. It's a really good warm up for that. And so if you want more information on that, go to our Elite Camp page. It's actually at gridironfootballusa.com, and that's where you can go and find and log in and try to figure out if you want to get involved with that as well. Back to Camp Impact, Quarterback Impact, and Skillz Evolution. First, Craig, how do those really intertwine? Is there anything with Skillz Evolution and Quarterback Impact, and do those things sometimes intertwine, or is it all just?
So Quarterback Impact is kind of like where we started.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Quarterback Impact, and then we branched off into the branch of Quarterback Impact is Skillz Evolution, which is offensive, defensive skill positions. And big skill, like linebackers, tight ends, H-backs. And then we also have Lineman U, which is our big boys, our big boys in the trenches that don't get enough love.
Right.
But so in Louisiana, we have a QB Impact Louisiana, and obviously I run Skillz Evolution Louisiana. Quarterback Impact Louisiana is ran by Cole Delcom. So Cole is the quarterback coach at Erath High School. He's actually from my neck of the woods. I'm from New Iberia. Cole grew up in Delcom, starting quarterback at Delcom High School. And Cole joined us this year. Cole's a young guy. He's got a lot of energy, got a wealth of knowledge. He's someone that I trust, with our mission, because, I can say that I trust him with me, but it's not me, it's we. The Quarterback Impact is we. It's not just one person. It's not just, Coach George's company. It's our brand. It's something that we take pride in. And, being in the training industry, it's really hard. It's hard to trust people. And I trust Cole with everything. Cole is someone that, that we brought in because we felt like, he can help, develop, quarterbacks in Louisiana, and also, continue on the mission. And on Sundays, usually during the off season, every other Sunday, you guys can follow us, QB Impact Louisiana on Instagram and also on Twitter. For me, it's Coach_Brodie, Coach_Brodie_Skillz with a Z. And we post all of our trainings on Twitter, on our Facebook, and also on our Instagram pages. And you can always go to www.qbimpact.com to get more information, because it gives information on, kind of gives a resume of Coach Delcom and myself. That way, you might be able to answer any questions on our pedigree, and kind of a little bit about who we are. Trainings typically for the crossover with QB Impact and Skillz Evolution usually occur on Sunday evenings. We feel that's kind of the path of least resistance between 7-on-7, between baseball. And obviously, you guys are more than welcome to reach out to us for more information. We'd be happy to answer. Typically, middle school, high school kids, we're going to branch out a little bit more into youth training once the summer comes, once their season gets closer. But it's 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes of work. It is 90 minutes of learning concepts. It's 90 minutes of just flat out, again, just work. I mean, I know they know after we leave these sessions, I gotta stop and grab a Gatorade at the Circle K right off of Aaron by Parkview Baptist, because I'm exhausted.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of work.
So that's kind of how you can reach out to us, and inquire about those sessions. Like I said, we post typically about a week before, and then we'll send you the link for payment, and then we can go from there. Coach Cole handles quarterbacks. I handle the skill positions. And that's, obviously, like I said, 174-75 Opportunity Avenue. It's where Ochsner does their sports performance stuff in Baton Rouge as well. Yeah. As far as Camp Impact, so Camp Impact this year is in Anna, Texas, Anna High School. It's about 40 minutes north of Dallas. In the past, we've had Camp Impact at AT&T Stadium. Last year, we actually had it at Melissa High School, which was a great event. These facilities in Texas are, they're top notch. They're, Melissa High School had indoor, outdoor turf fields, game field, turf field. Anna High School, beautiful facilities. I'm very excited to get on their campus. I've seen pictures of their new indoor facility. And at Camp Impact, you're talking about 250 athletes. And whenever you're looking at 250 athletes, 3-day camp, you're thinking, how does my kid fit into all this? Because obviously 250 is that's a big number. That's, that could be up to 4 football teams, depending on, what you're looking at. We actually have a staff of over 30 coaches. We bring in guys from quite literally all around the country to come work these camps. One guy that's a staple, love him to death, Quincy Carter, former All-American at University of Georgia, Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Another one, I know Saints fans probably won't like him that much, but Chris Miller, Hall of Fame quarterback at University of Oregon. He was the first-round draft pick by the Atlanta Falcons. Chris, I love you, but who dat? And then also we have, our entire QB Impact staff from Louisiana to Texas to Oklahoma, New Mexico, Washington State, and then my boys from the 808, the great state of Hawaii. Coach Ola Willing is really holds it down there in the Pacific Ocean. So we quite literally have guys coming from all corners of the United States. In the past couple of years, we actually had a few international football players attend. I know we had a quarterback from Germany last year.
Wow.
So I guess we're doing things right. And I know that, I'm, a part of this company, but I really, truly believe that this is the best camp if you want to learn the game. We're not about ratings. We're not about stars. You could be a 5-star. You could be a no star. You could be 18 or you can be 8. You're getting the same work. You're getting the same vocabulary. You're getting the same verbiage. Obviously, there's different levels to the training, but you're gonna work with the same people, that are working with the 5 stars as you are the no stars. That's not who we're about. If we cared about ratings, we would completely do this thing different, but we're not, because this camp is about making better football players, making better people. It's even for the parents. We actually have Coach George does a recruiting seminar for the parents. While the kids are getting social media talks, chalk talk with college coaches, which, by the way, college coaches are at our camps, and they're not just hanging around with a clipboard writing down names. They're working. And we make sure that everyone works, because at the end of the day, it ain't about us. It's about this brand. It's about the kids. It's about, making sure that everyone puts forth, their best foot so that these kids get the best experience possible. But the recruiting seminar is something that, we look forward to every year. Sorry, Mom. That's something that I look forward to every year, because it's kind of a shock value for me for the parents, because, a lot of these parents, if you ask them, their kid's 11, they're going to play at LSU, they're going to play in Death Valley. And, Coach George looks at everything from measurables to test scores to GPAs. And it really humbles a lot of people, but it's not like the purpose is not to humble them. The purpose is to educate them. And, you don't want a parent going into, the recruiting ignorant, because they want to know about the process. So this camp isn't just for, the athletes. The camp is for the parents. It's a family affair. We have, again, people coming from all over. And you can find more information on the camp at www.qbimpact.com. I'm actually scrolling on the homepage right now. We actually have the registration is live right now, and it's for all ages. It's a 3-day camp, Anna, Texas. Again, about 40 minutes north of Dallas. We have the entire schedule broken down into literally down to the minutes, what the athlete receives as far as packages, guest speakers, former NFL athletes help us, college coaches. It's going to be July 12th through July 14th. And we actually have another camp coming up next month at around the same time as the Gridiron All-American. We have what we call the Reload Series. This one's actually in Artesia, New Mexico, because we're adding a new branch to QB Impact, and it's going to be QB Impact New Mexico, and that's April 6th through 7th. So Coach George and the QB Impact team is going to be down there for the camp in Artesia. So we're just, again, trying to make an impact, trying to complete the mission. And we're doing what's best for not only, the kids, but for the parents and families and future generations.
And that's what it's all about, spreading it forward and doing what it takes to get a lot of kids out of situations. And that's Camp Impact, July 12th through 14th, brought to you powered by QB Impact. And it's really cool. I'm on the website right now, as you are, and seeing where you are, like Oklahoma, Texas, Hawaii. You mentioned Hawaii, that's pretty incredible. And then obviously the Louisiana base that you're a part of too. Now, is it for Camp Impact, are these athletes that have to be involved with your branch to be a part of it, or it can be really anybody?
Absolutely not. We welcome any and all. If you play football, you're in. There's no judgment. There's no, again, 5-star, no star, 2-star, 3-star. You're invited. If you truly want to work and get better, you're invited. And this year we're actually opening a new division for Camp Impact. We actually have a women's division.
Okay.
So Coach Mike Brown down in Jacksonville, Florida, who's actually involved with the Jacksonville Jaguars Flag Football Association. Florida has just started women's high school, women's flag football. And Coach, shout out to Coach Mike Brown, Queen Bee Training down in Jacksonville, Florida. He's going to be bringing a lot of his ladies to come and get work and get better at football. So, ladies, if you want to play some football, get better at football, come on down to Camp Impact. Coach Mike Brown's going to hook you up. He's done an incredible job working with Adriel Roca for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and really creating an environment for women to get involved in this sport in the capacity of flag football. And a lot of colleges are actually now starting women's flag football teams. I mean, hell, it's going to be an Olympic sport. So
yeah, you're right. You're right.
So why not? Why not come out and get better?
Yeah, yeah, an opportunity for the ladies be involved as well. Getting the ladies involved, I like it. So Camp Impact, July 12th to 14th. Should be a really, really good, really big 3-day event. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and players will get a chance to learn a whole lot from a lot of different college coaches and a lot of different people that are successful where they're at. And then and Skillz Evolution, one more time, Craig, if any players that are watching this right now that want to get involved, where they should go to contact you.
Absolutely. So you can, like I said, you can contact me through my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you just search Coach Brodie on Twitter, you'll find me. Coach Brodie Skillz on Instagram, and then my personal name Craig Brodie on Facebook. You can find any and all information that you need from there. And any questions you have about what we do, what the sessions are like. As Jace mentioned before, one thing that we kind of, Cole and myself, pride ourselves on is that we're both teachers. Our daytime job as teachers. I'm actually sitting in my classroom right now. And we treat training sessions like lesson plans. We don't just go out there. I think I said at the beginning before the break, we don't just go out there and set up cones. We actually have a purpose and a reason for each drill. And we build the session around what we started on, kind of bring it all together. You have your homework, you have your in-class work, and at the end you have your assessment. And that's kind of what we bring everything back to. So again, 90 minutes of work, we get about an hour of 45 minutes to an hour of individual position training. And then we all come together. We work on concepts, routes on air. And during that time, we actually, coach up, people individually, pull them to the side, maybe tell them what they did right, what they did wrong. And parents, you're invited to come and join and watch the session. High school coaches, if you guys want to come by and check out the session, you're more than welcome. I am not one of those people. I'm an open book. You can come with your cameras, you can come with your video cameras, you can come with your grandma, your auntie, everybody's invited. Y'all can come in and see what we're all about.
Absolutely, definitely check it out. If you're a young athlete, we're talking about Coach Brodie we're trying to get the stamp of approval from him from Gridiron. Trust me, it's the same way. Likewise, we definitely have our stamp of approval, thumbs up. So if you're a player that's really been through any of our camps or has been through us, that wants to get more involved, more attention, yeah, please feel free to reach out to Coach Brodie. I know there were some players after our Gridiron camp that went up to me and said, "Hey, how can we get involved with Coach Brodie?" It's like, "Hey, make sure to send him a DM," and I think you're getting some players already, which is really good. So on Twitter, if you have any questions, make sure to message Craig at Coach_Brodie on Twitter, and then on Instagram, Coach_Brodie_Skillz. So, Craig, any final thoughts? I know on just quarterback impact, Skillz Evolution, in general, just any final thoughts before we wrap up.
No, I really appreciate you, you and also, Gridiron Football for allowing me to, not only have this interview, but, be involved. That's one thing that I really got into training about is the reach. I really enjoy, helping out these young men because, I guess I'm showing my age, almost 18 years ago, I was in their shoes. I was a senior in high school. I wish I had the same tools that are available to these kids today. I wish I had those tools, whenever I was in high school, because before it was just kind of make a highlight film, put it in the mail, and hope for the best, show up on campus. Now they have all these resources, and we're trying to do our best at QB Impact to make sure that we're using every resource, every contact that we have to help these kids achieve their dreams, even if it's not football. Maybe it's a recommendation to get into a military academy. Maybe it's a recommendation for a job. Again, the mission of QB Impact is it's bigger than ball. It's bigger than football. And at the end of the day, that's all we can wish for is the guys that we work with to become better people.
Yeah, at the end of the day, and like you said, like it doesn't even have to be in football. Even in football, right? Like
Right.
Tom Brady. Even if you're Tom Brady, eventually you're going to hang him up at some point. So, what's going to be the next step for your life? So, teaching these young men not only to be better players, but just better human beings, and put them on the right track, because a scholarship will lead to a degree, and that's what we're trying to hope for, is plan for the kids in order to take the next level, just to life in general. So that's what QB Impact, Gridiron Football, and a lot of camps like these, and a lot of organizations like these try to do, and that's what we try to promote for Craig Brodie. And I know Craig's more than welcome. I know we're hoping that he comes and joins us at our next camp, which will be April 6th, and it'll be at East Iberville. And looking forward to having Craig come on as well. And he did a great job of coaching these young individuals at a recent camp. And then finally, yeah, just one more time, we're going to plug Camp Impact July 12th through 14th. So if you want to get involved, I'm sure you can go to qbimpact.com, or you can also contact Coach Craig Brodie as well. Craig, thank you for joining me today and having a discussion and talking about training and talking about helping getting guys to the next level, and sometimes going the extra mile in order to reach their goal.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this.
I appreciate it, Coach. So until next time, I'm Jace LeJeune, as you've been watching the Gridiron Football Prep Spotlight.